Dawn rises over Hiroshima with the calm of a routine day. The air carries the warmth of late summer, and the first sounds of life awaken the narrow streets. Vendors open their stalls, the wooden shutters creak, and children cross the bridges on their way to school. A city alive in rhythm, unaware that it is about to become the center of the world's silence. Every reflection on the river, every laugh in the distance, and every step on the dusted road happens as if nothing could ever change. The morning sun strengthens, and Hiroshima breathes with familiarity. Women hang white sheets by the river. Bicycles glide through the market lanes. At the station, soldiers in khaki uniforms board the trams, silent but orderly. The world, still at war elsewhere, seems far from this quiet corner. Yet above the blue sky, something unseen moves. The first shadow of a moment that will stop time itself. A distant hum appears, barely noticeable. Children pause, heads tilting toward the horizon. The sound deepens, metallic and constant. A silver dot glimmers in the sky, a B-29. The air thickens, and for a second, even the wind seems to hold its breath. Hiroshima remains still, caught between sunlight and what is coming. Every heart beats once more before the light. Then, the impossible happens. A flash brighter than the sun swallows everything. Streets, houses, rivers, lives. The shockwave roars outward, lifting roofs, tearing glass, and throwing bodies through air turned to fire. In a single heartbeat, the city vanishes into dust and flame. Sound itself becomes a blur of screams, collapsing walls, and wind. And then, silence, heavier than the explosion. Within the ruin, shapes move through the smoke. Survivors stumble, covered in ash that glitters faintly under a sky no longer blue. Flames consume entire neighborhoods. The river mirrors red light. Soldiers, schoolchildren, monks, all become the same silhouette. The air burns, and even the shadows of people are carved into the walls. The city breathes in cinders, exhaling nothing but heat. From the air, the mushroom cloud ascends, immense and alive, folding upon itself as if devouring the sky. The sound fades into a low vibration that seems endless. Beneath it, the city is unrecognizable, a landscape of fire and motionless light. Humanity, for the first time, witnesses the power it has created. Destruction beyond imagination, precise and total. The war and the world have changed forever. Evening approaches, though the sun is hidden behind smoke. Among the ruins, small fires persist. Water from the river glows orange, carrying fragments of wood and paper. The wounded gather near what remains of temples and schools. A monk walks barefoot among them, and no words are spoken. The air is heavy with silence, the kind that belongs to the end of the world. Night falls without stars. The city flickers in faint embers. People move like shadows, guided by the glow of burning beams. The sound of footsteps, of metal cooling, of wind through collapsed roofs, becomes the new pulse of Hiroshima. Where once there was laughter and trade, now there is breath, slow, broken, but alive. Morning finds what remains. The river carries bodies downstream, gently, as if returning them to the sea. Ash settles on everything, the roofs, the bridges, the palms of those who survived. Soldiers and volunteers search for signs of order. The silence is no longer of fear, but of disbelief. Under the white sun, the city has become a memory already fading. By midday, the first attempts at survival begin. Wells are uncovered, fires are drowned, wounds are wrapped. Civilians and the Imperial Army share the same water and the same exhaustion. The smell of iodine mixes with smoke. In the midst of ruin, acts of care are born. Quiet, precise, human. Even in ashes, discipline remains. Afternoon heat presses over the ruins. Lines form at the riverside for water and food. Nurses work beside monks and carpenters, turning cloth into bandages, wood into stretchers. A few write names on scraps of paper. Those found, those lost. The air smells of charcoal and boiled rice. The city no longer fights. It tends to itself. Dusk colors the smoke in shades of violet and gold. The first lamps flicker inside temples turned into shelters. Crickets resume their songs, unaware of what has changed. Along the bridges, silhouettes move slowly toward rest. Above, the cloud still lingers. Vast, shapeless, yet fading. The day that began in innocence ends in unearthly quiet. Night again. Survivors gather under the soft glow of lamps. The river, calm and black, reflects the trembling light. Whispers are gone. Only breathing and distant crackles of cooling wood remain. A single toad croaks by the water's edge. The world continues, even when words no longer fit. At dawn, the air is thick and silent. Mist rises from the ruins, covering the scars of the streets. The city exhales smoke, as if sighing. Monks and volunteers begin their circuits, carrying buckets and cloths. The river glows pale under the new sun. Hiroshima still stands, not in its buildings, but in its people moving through the dust. Morning light grows clear, cutting through the mist. The smell of burnt wood softens into that of damp earth. Survivors return to the same tasks: fetching water, clearing paths, caring for the wounded. Soldiers and civilians alike follow orders without needing words. It is not obedience to command, but to survival itself. Each movement restores something small: a rhythm, a habit, a sign of life. The night brings back quiet, but it is a quiet filled with small sounds: footsteps, water boiling, bandages being folded. Lanterns mark the places where hands keep working. Doctors, wardens, volunteers. The river mirrors these brief circles of light. Above, the cloud has thinned, but not disappeared. The city does not sleep. It endures. Dawn returns with color. Greens, browns, the pale blue of washed sky. Lines of buckets begin again, from wells to temples. Students and volunteers carry basins. Wardens draw new arrows on the posts. The same motions as yesterday, yet filled with different meaning. The light that once destroyed now reveals the effort to rebuild. The morning settles into rhythm. Each block finds its pattern. Some repair, some clean, some heal. Civil defense wardens rewrite the maps. The fire brigade revisits unsafe roofs. Doctors, both military and civilian, share supplies and silence. The river carries both reflection and debris. Everything that survives, moving onward. The city's heartbeat, faint but steady, continues. By late morning, the air grows warmer and order takes shape. Water lines, meal lines, repair lines. The city breathes in sequence. The river becomes a messenger, bearing barrels of water and boats of hope. Every stroke of the brush, every hammer on wood, every rope tightened is a small defiance against disappearance. The sun burns bright, but life moves brighter. The sun stands high, unrelenting. Sweat and ash blend on the workers' arms. The rhythm of buckets and hammers becomes the new song of the city. Not one of victory or mourning, but of persistence. Soldiers, civilians, and volunteers share shade and water. Under the same sky that once blinded them, they rebuild, piece by piece, what the light took away. The early afternoon brings order. Bridges are reinforced, signs repainted, eaves secured. Doctors tend to the living, monks to the names of the lost. The river delivers food and barrels, and the smell of boiled rice replaces that of smoke. The colors hold firm: indigo, khaki, white, and green. The palette of those who rebuild without rest. The late afternoon slows the rhythm. Barrels arrive from the river, ropes tighten around supports, bandages are refreshed. Every movement is deliberate, steady, and real. The heat fades, and the air carries the scent of wet wood instead of fire. The people of Hiroshima work not to remember, but to continue. The city, rebuilt in gestures, takes its first steady breath. Evening arrives softly, as if closing a long day's labor. The river dims to gold and blue. Lamps are lit. Records are written. The bridges grow quiet, and the steps slower. The light lowers gently over walls and roofs that remain. In the still air, the city exhales, wounded, yet alive. The day ends not in silence, but in endurance.